Assisting in the presentation of the Benjamin E. MAYS Award to Charlotte O'Neill is Dr. Brookins, Associate Professor of Psychology and Africana Studies.
It is my pleasure to be here to present this award, and I am particularly humbled to be in between two people who I consider to be giants, who I have respected for a long time at the local level, as well as the international level, although it's all local in Tanzania as well. Mama C, Charlotte O'Neill, born in 1951 in Kansas City, Kansas. Charlotte Hill O'Neill became the youngest member of the Kansas City School of Human Dignity at age 17. The next year, she joined the Kansas City chapter of the Black Panther Party and began working with Pete O'Neill, chapter founder and chairman. Later that year, Pete and Charlotte were married at the Panther National Headquarters in Oakland, California. Pete and Charlotte were forced to leave America in 1970 after Pete was targeted by the FBI counterintelligence program, also known as COINTELPRO. They traveled to Algeria, where they spent 2 years working with Eldridge and Kathleen Cleaver to develop the International Black Panther Party. Their son, Malcolm, was born in Algiers in 1971. In 1972, Charlotte and her husband relocated to Tanzania, where they began farming using traditional and sustainable methods. Their second child, Ann Wood, was born in Arusha, Tanzania in 1975. They became African-American pioneers in their ancestral homeland and built their homestead on the slopes of Mount Meru in Mbasani, a rural village in the heart of the traditional homeland of the Wameru tribe. In 1991, Charlotte and Pete O'Neill co-founded the United African American Community Center, UAACC. The name was later changed to the United African Alliance Community Center. The UAACC is a nonprofit, community-based organization devoted to developing programs to support the Arusha community and to promote cultural ties to communities in America, emphasizing African American communities. The UAACC offers classes in many subjects, including English, computer studies, building construction, architecture, arts, crafts, indigenous knowledge, HIV/AIDS awareness and life skills training, drama and music, computer skills, and a newly established filmmaking class. All of the classes are free for Tanzanian citizens and all the teachers or volunteers. At the UAACC, Charlotte and her husband have welcomed study abroad initiatives from around the world, including working with the study abroad initiatives of the Africana Studies program here at NC State University. I was very pleased to have met Charlotte and Pete in 1993, and it was without question that UAACC was the place to take our study abroad program. UAACC has a cultural exchange program with Kansas City, where youth in Tanzania visit Kansas City, and Kansas City youth visit Tanzania. Through the Arusha Kansas City Sister City program, many donations of medical supplies have benefited the Arusha community. The programs of the UAACC positively impact the local people, the local economy, and the students and faculty members who travel to the center each year. Charlotte also co-founded the UAACC Leaders of Tomorrow Children's Home Program, providing a home education and mentorship opportunities to 22 orphaned and disadvantaged children from the Arusha area free of charge, and given a whole lot of life to MZ Pete. In 1994, in order to support the outreach and advocacy of efforts of the UAACC, Charlotte created the Heal the Community program, during which she used her multifaceted talents as a writer, quilter, sculptor, and visual artist to present innovative programming and fund the initiatives of the UAACC. This year's extensive tour will take her across the United States to East and West Africa and to Mexico. As an artist, Mama C, as she is popularly known, has had her work featured in the U.S. at Spelman College, the Smithsonian Institute, the Augusta Savage Gallery, the University of Missouri, throughout East Africa, and in my own living room. I was very pleased to get the piece that Mama C won first prize at the Zanzibar International Film Festival, first prize for art. As a vocalist, she is famous for blending traditional Tanzanian instrumentation with the jazz, blues, and gospel rhythms that define her early life in Kansas City. And as a poet, Mama C works on issues of importance to African, African American, and diaspora unity, as well as women's issues and personal empowerment. Her work has been featured in numerous journals, including North Carolina State University Department of English Journal, Obsidian, Literature in the African Diaspora. Her first collection of poetry, Warrior, Woman of Peace, was published in 2003. Her second poetry collection, Life Slices, A Taste of My Heaven, is due for release this year. She is also currently working on her autobiography. Mama C was featured in the 2004 documentary, A Panther in Africa. Her life, however, is the focus of a 2012 documentary we were pleased to have shown here last semester, Mama C, Urban Warrior in the African Bush, directed and produced by Joanne Hirschfield. Charlotte O'Neill daily explores the connections between Africa and the African diaspora. She notes that as a member, quote, as a member of the Black Panther Party, I was taught the importance of building international solidarity among all people while honoring my ancestral roots. That philosophy has never changed, and many of my poems and songs reflect this burning desire and mission to spread peace, love, and unity through my art. It is my pleasure to participate in the presentation of this award to Mama C, Charlotte Hill O'Neill.
To stand before this community and to receive the Benjamin E. MAYS Award for Community Service and Upliftment. I am honored to have followed in the footsteps of pioneers of community service like my fellow awardee, Mrs. Margaret Rose Murray, Mr. Benjamin E. MAYS, and of course, Dr. Lawrence M. Clark. I had heard the name Benjamin E. MAYS for many years and knew him to be an educator and mentor of great influence in the life of Martin Luther King and thousands of other men who had come out of Morehouse and gone on to do wonderful things in their lives of service. But I hadn't really done research to find out more about him until I got word that I would be receiving an award named for him. In my research, I found that so much of what he stood for mirrored the examples of two men who had played a tremendous part in my own life and my becoming the woman that stands before you this evening. Those men are my father, Mr. Sterling E. Hill, Sr. of Kansas City, Kansas, and my husband of 44 beautiful, productive years, Mr. Pete O'Neill, former chairman of the Kansas City chapter of the Black Panther Party and founder of the United African Alliance Community Center, and the leaders of Tomorrow Children's Home, both which are located in Tanzania. When I was a young girl growing up in Kansas City, my father would repeatedly tell me to stand tall, to keep my head up, to study hard, to love myself as much as I loved others, and to know that I had a right to speak and that my words were important. My 86-year-old father, who retired a captain on the Kansas City Fire Department and went on to establish another career of 35 years working with youth at the Wyandotte County Detention Center, taught me through his example the value of hard work and carrying myself in a manner that would always bring honor to my family and to my community. Benjamin MAYS often told the thousands of young black men that he worked with at Morehouse and beyond, do not let a situation intimidate you. You've been prepared to meet any challenge. My family prepared me to meet life's challenges in the same way, without intimidation, with courage, with imagination, and with love. Reverend Calvin Butts, when honoring Benjamin MAYS as one of the main heroes who had influenced him in life, said in an interview that Benjamin MAYS was a revolutionary, training black men to be strong, positive examples and to stand up against an oppressive and racist society way back in the 1930s and 40s. And Pete O'Neill, my 73-year-old husband, that other man in my life, who has influenced and mentored me in more ways than he will ever really know, was and remains a strong and positive revolutionary who also continues to be a positive example to so many young men, women, and children. Like Benjamin MAYS, he changed a life that could have been stuck in the negative into a positive light that has lit a fire in the hearts and minds of young people from all over the world who come to UAACC. Being a Panther taught us both how to work hard for the upliftment of our communities through service to community, and that legacy continues at UACC as we plant the seeds of volunteerism in young minds and hearts. I have found that the empowerment that comes from young people recognizing and nurturing their creative spirits through art, whether it be music or painting or poetry, drama, filmmaking, dance, and through the positive influence of hip-hop that is so widespread all over Tanzania, indeed all over Africa. I'm talking about conscious hip-hop, y'all. And other creative outlets. It's something that I have been blessed to share. It is something that has helped me to fulfill my life's mission to spread love, integrity, and that all-important thing called confidence that inevitably spills over into other aspects of young people's lives. Our motto at UACC is sharing knowledge for community development, and that too is what the life of Benjamin MAYS and Dr. Lawrence M. Clark boils down to. When I was a young revolutionary, I naively thought that a revolution of love and justice for all would be like a cataclysmic event that would happen almost overnight. But with age and the wisdom that has come with this gray hair that I have now, I realized that the revolution that we envision will happen in the hearts and minds of individuals that spreads to families and then to communities and then to cities, even villages, one by one by one. And that is the legacy of Benjamin E. MAYS, and that is the legacy of Dr. Lawrence M. Clark. It's the legacy of my dad, the legacy of that Kansas City Panther, Brother Pete O'Neill, that I will always hold to and nurture and live by. Reverend Calvin Butts recalled in a tribute to his hero, Benjamin E. MAYS, that he would often recite a short poem that included the line, "I got just a minute, but eternity is in it." So I thank you all for giving me my minute this evening, and I thank you for this tremendous honor. Peace, love, and blessings, y'all.